Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Jaya Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Sri Radhe. Jayo Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtatarashat Shishimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtatarashat Shishimad, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shri Ramakunda Radha Kunta Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Yamuna Mai Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Glories to Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you also for those joining online. Thank you for making the sacrifice to be here or be there online listening and choosing that opportunity to hear about Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5 and text 7, 5.7. And before I start, I would like to ask your blessings, of course, so that whatever comes out is helpful for all of us. Yeah, so 5.7. Everyone got the verse? Okay. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vichitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvanapi nalipyate. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma Vijitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvanapi nalipyate. Anyone would like to try? Yoga yukto vishuddhatma Vijitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvanapi nalipyate. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma Vijitatma jitendriya sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvanapi nalipyate. Sorry, actually we didn't say the phrase. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so word for word translation. Yoga Yukta, engaged in devotional service. Vishuddha Atma, a purified soul. Vijita Atma, self-controlled. Jita Indriya, having conquered the senses. Sarva Bhuta, to all living entities. Atma Bhuta Atma, compassionate. Kurvanapi, although engaged in work. Na, never. Lipyate, is entangled. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. If you could please repeat. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Purport. One who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches, or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna. Nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna. And he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in battle to others? Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficially offensive, because, as has already been explained in the second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain. So, spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvei Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so yeah, we'll start from the translation, and maybe throughout, as we are reading, it would be nice if you can think of points which somehow speak to you, and maybe you could then share after the end of the class. I will try to leave some time. So, one who works in devotion. So this is already a very important point. Actually, here in the translation, there are described the symptoms of somebody who is very advanced devotee. So, such a person is working in devotion. So what does it mean to work in devotion? Devotion means to have some love, some feeling, some dedication to what we are doing. Because there are different types of work. We can do something, to get something material, to earn some money. But work in devotion means that somebody just wants to do something out of love. And this is something I was thinking that, it's good for us to, in every day, to reflect and think whatever we are doing, because each of us has many, many different duties throughout the day, different services, and to reflect, to sometimes maybe stop and think, am I doing it with devotion? Am I doing it with the feeling of love? Am I doing it out of love for Krishna? Or am I just doing it because I have to do it? And then we can reflect, because this is a very important factor. Actually, Krishna doesn't really need us to do anything for him. He's not hungry, he doesn't require us to come and do things for him. But actually, we need to develop this lost relationship with him, and love develops through service. That's why we need to do things for him. And he is actually waiting for that love that we want to show him. It doesn't matter for him, if you are cleaning the toilet or you are serving on the altar. What matters for him is the feeling, the love that we have. This is what he's really craving for. And there was a nice story described in Mahabharata, where Krishna, he came to Hastinapur and he had a message to deliver to Duryodhana, but actually he decided to go first to Vidura, because he knew he's his devotee and he wants to see his devotee. And Vidura was not present, and his wife received Krishna, and she was so excited to see him that she wanted to offer him some bananas. But she was so overwhelmed with love that instead of giving him bananas, she gave him the banana peels. But because Krishna understood that, she has done it with so much love, he was relishing it like anything. And then Vidura came back, and when he saw it, he chastised his wife, "What are you doing?" But Krishna said that, these banana peels taste so amazing because they are given to me with love. So this is what actually Krishna wants, and this is what advanced devotee is doing. The devotee is serving with love. And it is said also who is a pure soul. So pure soul, actually soul is always pure, isn't it? The soul is pure. But once in this material world, the soul is covered with the dust of material attachments, of material desires. But such a person who is advanced in Krishna consciousness, there is no more material desires, and who controls his mind and senses. So how do we control our mind and senses? We mentioned it in previous classes in this chapter, or in the previous chapter also. It was described how actually we control mind and senses by engaging the senses in Krishna's service. By whatever we are doing, we do it in Krishna's service. And it is said here that such a person is dear to everyone. And in Sanskrit, it is actually described Sarva Bhuta Atma Bhuta Atma. And it means compassionate to all living entities. So that means he is dear. It is said here actually that such a devotee is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. So everyone is dear to him because he has compassion, because he or she understands that, actually everyone is suffering in this material world, whatever living entity it is, whether it is a mosquito or a human being or an animal, everyone is suffering, and such a advanced soul has compassion to everyone. And I was thinking how, sometimes it is difficult for us in some situations. We don't like how others are behaving, but actually such a advanced devotee, the more one advances, the more they can have compassion and understand that, this person is trying their best, and maybe they are not 100% behaving like maybe we would like it to be, but we need to understand that this person is trying their best, and that actually however they are acting because of their conditioning and their struggles. And then understand also and remember that actually we are also having so many struggles ourselves. So this compassion is very, very important factor here. And it is said that such a person is dear to everyone. So how is it possible, to be dear to everyone? And then it will be explained in the purport about it, how is it that the person is dear to everyone. But we actually endear others to ourselves by behaving in a nice way to others. If we have nice service attitude towards others, then automatically they are pleased with us. So, and they are showing us some reciprocation, and there is exchange of love. And it is said also, though always working, such a man is never entangled. So, do you maybe remember what are the 3 types of karma? Oh yeah. Yeah, you can get, yeah. And you can also say. Anna, you know? Abhi? Yeah, karma, akarma, and vikarma, yeah. So out of those 3, vikarma is when we are doing some sinful activities. Karma is when we are doing pious activities. But akarma is when there is no, even though there is action, but there is no reaction. So this is actually devotional service. And that's why it is said that such a person, even though acting in devotional service, they are not entangled because there is no reaction. This is akarma. So even though one is acting, but there is no reaction. This is called action, inaction. Yeah, so coming to the purport, it is said here that one who is on the path of Krishna consciousness, one who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. Yeah, so like we explained that there is this exchange of love. If we are happy to serve others, if you think about it, if there is a person who everyone loves this person, It is because they are very caring, very loving. Maybe you can think about someone you know who is like that. For example, I remember Mother Kulangana, and everyone loved her. Everyone loved her because she loved everyone. She was always caring for everyone, always thinking about, how can I help this person, materially, spiritually, how can I help them? And because of that, then, when you feel loved by someone, then this person becomes dear to you. When you feel cared by someone, then this person becomes dear to you. So this is the quality of such an advanced devotee. And it is said here, this is due to his Krishna consciousness. So because this person sees everyone as parts and parcels of Krishna. And there is this saying, love me, love my dog. So if one understands that I love Krishna, if one has love for Krishna, then one understands that, okay, everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. So then if I love Krishna, then automatically I love also others. And such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. Yes, and he knows very well that by pouring water on the roots of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches, or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Yes, so this is something, when we are watering the tree, we have this faith that, just by watering this tree, there will be automatically the leaves will be nourished, they will stay green, and the flowers will blossom after some time. And we know that I don't have to separately water the branches and the leaves. So there is this amount of faith, that this is going to happen. So similarly, yesterday we were talking about it. Is it possible to please everyone? But actually, just by watering the roots of the tree, the whole tree will become nourished. We have this conviction, isn't it? We have this conviction. We know that we don't have to separately water the flowers and the leaves. So similarly, there is this faith in Krishna that just by serving him, everyone else will be pleased. And it may seem like, but sometimes I'm serving Krishna, but my family is not happy that I'm here in the temple. But actually, in due course of time, ultimately everyone is benefiting from that. Especially our family members are benefiting from what we are doing for Krishna. And I have personal experience that when I joined the temple, my family were not happy about it. But after some time, as I kept doing devotional service, they actually became satisfied with what I'm doing. They just accepted it. So I was thinking that just ultimately they became satisfied and they accepted it. So then I thought, yes, it really works, just by practicing devotional service, they are getting some benefit, and gradually they are also understanding that it's a good thing to do. And even if they are favorable, they are supporting me. So like that ultimately everyone will be satisfied. And this is also connected with the point that Srila Prabhupada is making here, that it will come a little bit later about Arjuna. Yeah, that he says, but Arjuna is actually doing something which appears to be offensive. He's killing his own kinsmen, his relatives, his friends. How come? Because it is said here that a devotee can never be offensive to anyone. And Arjuna is devotee, but actually Srila Prabhupada explains that he was only superficially offensive. Because as has already been explained in the second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain. So spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Yeah, so in chapter 2 it is explained about the soul, that the soul is eternal, ever-existing. What else?
Blissful?
Blissful, yeah, always blissful, and cannot be slain. Nothing can happen to the soul. So Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing that nothing can happen to the soul, but actually Arjuna, he was, how is that he, even though he is acting in such a terrible way, seems like, he's killing, and we understand that, killing is a bad thing. So how is that? And Srila Prabhupada is explaining it on the analogy that just like the doctor, he's doing a surgery, the surgeon is doing a surgery, and he's using the knife and he's cutting the stomach of the patient, and he's taking out the organs, and it seems like, he's harming the patient, but we know that he's not actually harming the patient, he is actually performing his duty, and he's helping this person. So, but at the same time, somebody may be using the knife for killing another person whimsically, just to get money from them or out of hatred. And this is sinful activity. But somebody who is just doing their duty as a doctor, even though using a tool of a knife, is actually not doing anything wrong, is doing the right thing. So how is that? Because they are sanctioned by authority. They are told, you have to, this is your duty and you have to do it, you have to save this patient. And even though it may seem like harm being done, but actually it's help. So similarly, Arjuna, even though he's doing something which may appear to be very offensive, like Srila Prabhupada is saying here, but actually because he's acting under Krishna's order, so there is no action in this action. There is no reaction in this action. Because it says he was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work. Yeah, so just by doing things for Krishna, just by following the authority, following the orders of the spiritual master, of the seniors, of the mentors, those who are representing Krishna for us, we can be assured that if we are just executing the orders, there is no really any reactions to our action, and we can be safe in this sense. And then it is said also that such a person has completely controlled senses, and because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of being deviated from Krishna. Nor is there any chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. Yeah, so the senses are, like we mentioned, that if we engage our senses fully in Krishna's service, then the senses automatically become controlled. And then that becomes so, we develop the higher taste, and automatically the lower taste just goes. Just like, a child, when a child is very small and is eating only pulps and things like that, and this is what the child is relishing. But when the child grows up, then starts eating different varieties of food stuff and develops higher taste for other things and doesn't want pulp anymore. So similarly for us, when we may be enjoying different material, and we may have some material enjoyments in this material world, like going out to the restaurants and going to the cinema. But as we practice then Krishna consciousness, we develop the higher taste, and And then something which maybe was bringing us pleasure before, when you think about it, you know, going to the pub and drinking and dancing in the club. How did it feel? You know, how did it feel afterwards? Did it bring any satisfaction? Did it bring any happiness? But when you compare it, when you come to the temple and you're dancing in front of Krishna, how do you feel? Does it bring satisfaction? Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
blissful.
Yeah, it is blissful. So, yeah, so that is the difference. And the more we practice, the more of a higher taste we develop, and the slower taste just goes. So, yeah, there's more to say here, but I would like to leave some time for you to share what you liked about this verse and the translation and the purport. Maybe you could elaborate on some points and give some lights. And or if there are any questions, then could be also. Yes, please.
Shall I go?
My husband. Oh, okay.
I was just really meditating upon this point that you made about working with devotion, and how you were explaining that if one works for devotion, then it's akarma. It's out without any reaction. And I was just thinking that there are probably quite a lot of successful people who would read that and think to themselves that, yes, I am working with devotion. But then I was thinking that, no, you know, what Srila Prabhupada, what Krishna is saying is not what we think he's saying. That when it's talking about devotion, it means devotion for Krishna. That having full devotion for Krishna. Because otherwise it's not possible to have devotion fully for someone else. And that's why Srila Prabhupada says the closest thing to it is the mother's love. That the mother is working without any other personal motivation to serve the child. And in that way, if that one serves Krishna without any other motivation to please him, that's real devotion. But otherwise, a person who is, so to speak, quite greedy for their work, they're just doing it to please their own senses, which is not devotion.
Yeah, that is a really good point. That this motivation, what is the drive? Because we may see, oh, you know, but this person is a professional cook and they can cook so much better. And then there's someone, you know, who can only make chapatis, but is making it for Krishna out of love. And I mean, actually, chapati is not so easy. But anyway, they are doing it with love, you know, and this is what matters really. The motivation, like you said, and yeah, they may be thinking, you know, I'm doing it, but it's more like passion, isn't it? They may be thinking that, oh, I'm doing it with so much devotion, dedication, so much passion, but the thing is that the motivation is to get a lot of money, and most probably, yeah, this is the. Thank you for sharing that. But actually, today we were reading Giriraj Swami's class on Guru Purnima, and he was saying how still we can learn from everyone. He was saying, and even from those who are working for sense gratification, we can still learn from them, and of course then use it in Krishna's service. He said, if we have the right consciousness, we can learn from everyone, even from them. Yeah.
I like the point you made about Mother Kalangana, because she was so dear, like everyone liked her, and it's like it says in the verse, it says it's dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. So that mood is very nice, you know, being kind. And I like the point in the purple that because he's pure in his consciousness, he doesn't want other things. Like he doesn't want anything which is not offered to Krishna. He wouldn't eat anything. And I think these things are relatable because as we've come like deeper in our Krishna consciousness, we're losing taste for the other things, and we don't want to. Like every time we get anything, we're like, is it offered? So we're slowly getting there, and we lose taste for other things, even like eating out and things like that. So that point stood out to me because I think it's personally something that I realised, especially since staying here.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the consciousness of the person cooking it also goes into you. So yeah.
Definitely. Thank you for this point. Yeah, and about how you mentioned, because with Mother Kulangana and all those, wonderful devotees who have such a nice purity, and a nice attitude. So the thing is that, in this material world, there is often this feeling that, one person wants to exploit the other person. So suddenly if somebody wants to actually do something for you, give something to you, then you feel like, wow, this is something new. So automatically, yes, there is.
True, just like yourself.
Not me. Okay.
Thank you, Amrita. Also, I like the point about how devotional service means serving with love. And like we do use the word service quite a lot. And at least I kind of forget about the love part. And then can I really say that I'm like doing devotional service if I'm like making garlands, but I don't know, I'm thinking about making it as quick as possible so I can have time to sleep or something else. Yeah, so yeah, just to be mindful about it. Thank you.
Honesty is also very wonderful quality of devotee. So yeah, it's very important to be honest. So this is good. And I guess, we are practicing devotional service. We are practicing, that means, it's like a rehearsal. And to one day be able to actually perform devotional service. But for now, most of us, we are practicing, trying our best. And practice makes it perfect. So we just have to keep on doing the same thing, and hopefully one day.
Yeah, I also liked, same as Kamal, I like this point you made about Mother Kalangana, how, when somebody has that purity, you can see it because everyone is kind of magnetic. Everyone is attracted to that purity, and also they don't see the faults in others, so or at least they don't kind of pull them down for the faults. Even if they see them, they just kind of let them go. And I really like that point. And it's very obvious when somebody has that purity. Very soon after meeting someone like that, you realize that this person is what it says in the verse, a pure soul, and someone working in devotion.
Exactly.
And I also had a question. So when you're talking about watering the root and how we should be doing what Krishna wants us to do, and then we're making everyone happy. And I was thinking on a day-to-day level, how do we know actually what Krishna wants us to do? Because sometimes, we're in a situation and we're thinking, should I say this? Shouldn't I say this? Should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? And it's difficult to know actually what would Krishna want me to do in this situation, and how to how to know whether is this just what I want to do, or is this actually what Krishna would want me to do, and how to hear Paramatma.
Yeah, this is a really good question. And it's already good, to start think about it, what actually Krishna wants me to do. If we start thinking like that, then he will, then we will get some guidance. Because if we just want to do whatever we want, and we don't even think, oh, what Krishna would like me to do in this situation, then of course we will just do whatever we want. But if we really want to do what Krishna wants us to do, then we can start from praying and, you know, really thinking about what Krishna wants me to do in this situation, and then going and speaking to seniors, to those who we trust, who we have relationship with, who are our well-wishers, who are, you know, more advanced than us, who have more practice in Krishna consciousness, who know more, and just to have this trust, you know, that they can give us advice, they can see something we cannot see. So this is very important, and yes, sometimes it's also good, like you were saying, oh, you're thinking, oh, shall I say it, shall I not say it? This is actually the symptom of controlling the senses and the mind, because if we don't control, just say, you know, whatever is in your mind, you will probably cause so many offenses. That's why it is said here, because the person is controlling the senses and the mind, then such a person is not offensive, because even though you may be thinking so many things, but you just keep it, you know. You know that it's not right to say it to this person. Maybe, you know, maybe say it another time, not now, not right now, or say it to their seniors, or maybe it's just not meant to be said at all. So this is always, yeah, it's good to have this, you know, this attitude of being cautious and waiting and really like praying for the guidance, asking for the guidance, really going to our senior and asking, checking. This is also something which Mother Kulangana was always saying, that always check, then you will make less mistakes and less offenses. Always check. This is, even if you're convinced that, but still, you know, it's always good to check. Yeah. I don't know if it helps you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anything else anyone would like to say? Thank you so much for your kind attention and contribution. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. All glories to assembled devotees.